Before we get started, I'd just like to make a statement, about the previous week, specifically Oklahoma State. I know my actions, did not represent this program the way it should be. This coaching staff, this fan base, and my teammates. Just wanted to apologize for that. I know how serious it is. And I know that my actions, not technically cost us the game, but, it prevented me from staying in the game, which, essentially could have helped us win both of those ball games. And those are things that I just don't do on a regular basis. I know it doesn't look good on my part. I just wanted to clarify my apologies for those actions to especially to this fan base and Coach Hugs. So with that being said, I just want to apologize, and I'd like to move on from it, put it in the past, and not answer any questions about the topic, if you will. We can get on from there.
Okay, so move on from there. Your challenge tomorrow as a team, individually. Obviously, you're playing a good team.
Yeah, Kansas is a good ball club. They move the ball very well. They have a lot of motion within their half-court offense, a lot of ball screen continuity. They love little flips and handoffs and skip passes with, the occasional ball screen, which makes them hard to guard. But I think we like our matchups going into this game. I like our matchups going into any game, to be honest. If we play the way we're capable of playing, and we got guys staying out of foul trouble, we can win any game in this league and win any game in America.
Erik, just kind of looking at Kansas defensively. I mean, outside of the point guard, it looks like they're all like 6'6", 6'8". So I'm guessing they switch everything basically. And teams are struggling to shoot the ball against them, and obviously you guys have struggled the last couple of games shooting. So, how do you guys generate, offense against them?
Yeah, they start, starting five, and the point guard's probably about 6'2", and then you go Grady Dick, Jalen Wilson, Kevin McCullough, all about 6'7" each, and then you got KJ Adams, which is probably about 6'7", maybe 6'8". So it gives them a lot of defensive versatility. And Harris is a good defender as well, and he's tough. So, like you said, they can switch 1 through 4. And they're very smart about it. They try not to get Harris caught on a big, in the block. But if they do, then they love to double, quickly double. So, got to be ready for that. And, we do like our certain matchups in this game, though. We're going to try and manipulate ways to get guys in certain spots. Because we got guys who can score in certain areas. As for shooting, man, we just, there's no real formula for that, I guess. You're on the road to start in the hardest league in America. It would have been great if we would have came out and shot like we normally do, but we didn't, and we still had chances to win both of those games. So, I think coming back home, we're going to get our swag back, get our mojo back. It's gonna be sold out in here the next 2 games. We got to start with Kansas and get that one, and then hopefully get on a run.
Challenges without Keedy on both ends of the floor, and you have to take a little bit more ball handling responsibility, or what's that going to be like?
Yeah, it's going to be different for sure. Obviously, he's been our starting point guard the entire year. He's played a lot of minutes for us. Obviously he's a great defender for us. He keeps us in our offense. But it is what it is. He's got a concussion. Obviously a man down going in probably the biggest 2-game stretch of the season so far. But we got plenty of guys who can step up and play. As for ball handling, obviously we're going to start Joe at the 1. And then if he gets in foul trouble or, needs a break, then I can slide to the 1 and handle that. Or Kobe. Kobe could play the 1. It's just a matter of, having our guys be believing in themselves and be confident in themselves that they can make plays, and being smart out there, not making stupid fouls, and staying on the floor. Because when we have certain guys on the floor, we can beat anybody in the country.
If someone had told you to start at 0-2 in the league, even though you knew you were starting on the road, would you have believed that going into the season?
No, I wouldn't have, especially if you'd have told me that, 6, 7, 8 games into the season. I felt pretty good about ourselves. I still feel really good about us. We just had a 2-game stretch where it seems like we couldn't buy a bucket, and just a couple of things didn't go our way. But that's how it is on the road. I always tell these guys, don't expect anything on the road. It's pretty much 5 versus 8 on the road, usually. I hate to think like that, but on the road, it's really just how it is. But like I said, we're coming back home, and we're going to try and get our mojo back and play with some swag and, trying to even up, go back to 2-2. And once we get these 2 wins, man, we're right back in the hunt.
I haven't watched every Kansas. I'm sure you've watched probably more Kansas games than I have, but it doesn't look like they have a lot of depth outside of their starting 5, which obviously their starting 5 is pretty good. But you guys have been drawing a lot of fouls, and so getting them into foul trouble, maybe trying to get into that depth or lack of depth a little bit. How much of a game, is that in the game plan process there?
Yeah, that would be huge. It'd be ideal to get them in foul trouble. I'd say especially with 3, 4, and 5. I'm pretty confident about our matchups at the 1 and 2. I'm confident about 3, 4, and 5 as well. But those guys handle a lot of defensive responsibilities, rebounding responsibilities. So if we can get those guys, out the game or out of their rhythm, that'll just help us. Because they got young bigs off the bench. They play 2 sophomore bigs. Excuse me. Off the bench, as well as KJ, who's a sophomore, and none of them look to score. So if you don't give them any easy dunks around the rim and any offense rebound putbacks or easy buckets in transition, you have a good chance of beating them, which is easier said than done. But like I said, man, I like our matchups going into any game, but I'm really confident going into tomorrow.
Kind of a second question. Like I said, you guys drew. You guys were getting Kansas State into foul trouble, Oklahoma State in foul. Did the style of play suddenly kind of change a little, or the physicality change a little bit once Big 12 play started?
I don't know if style of play changed. Physicality definitely changed. The game is more physical when you come league play. It's kind of weird, they call some of the ticky-tack ones and they don't call the blatant ones sometimes, but just got to adjust to it. And I've played to plenty of games where it's physical or ticky-tack, so just got to control as a team, just got to control our emotions a little better, starting with myself, obviously. And not playing for a call, play to put the ball in the rim, and if you get the call, you get the call. If not, get back on defense, get a stop, and do it again. So just mental toughness. That's all that is. Playing through contact and getting the bucket.
This team, Eric, I understand. I know you don't want to be 0-2, but in a sense, do you sense that you and Emmett and some of the older guys are here for situations like this, kind of get things back on track? And in the season, last couple of years, and it's a hard league, I get that, but to navigate through and then come out on the right end of it.
Yeah. Like I said, I've said this so many times. We got so many old guys on this team. We got guys who have played in this league before, and we have guys who have played in other big-time leagues before. So navigating this league is going to be tough, no matter how old, young, whatever it is. Because every team in this league can play. Especially on the road, it's going to be tough. And the formula is win your home games and split on the road. You got to steal a few on the road. Obviously, we let 2 get away from us, but that doesn't mean we can't go and beat Texas at Texas or Kansas at Kansas, at Baylor. We can win any game in this league. So it's going to be brutal, but it's going to be brutal for every other team as well. So we just got to put these first 2 in the past and come out swinging on tomorrow and get on the run.
Counted here, they've got 6 games where they've won by 2 possessions or less, including the 2 league games where they were tight. They're making plays to win games. In your experience, what do you see from teams that allow them to do that?
They just play hard. They play extremely hard, and they always do. And when you play as hard as as they do and as we do, it's good things are going to happen eventually. Because the basketball gods always reward the guys who play hard. And they first two league games, Oklahoma State was up on them big, up 15 at home. And they found a way to come back in that game, and then there was a questionable call at the end of that game where I think it was on the baseline out of bounds, and I think it was Bryce Thompson had a layup, and it looked like it got blocked, but it also looked like he got fouled, but there was no call, and that's what it is. Then they went to Texas Tech and squeaked that one out as well. They easily could have lost that game as well. They could be 0-2 just like us. But the ball bounced their way in certain moments, and I credit that to just how hard they play.
We talked to you before Christmas. You're getting ready to head home. I understand that travel went poorly.
Yeah, I went to Chicago.
So where did you get to? When did you have to turn around? Did you get to the Pittsburgh airport? What
Yeah,
happened?
so I went from Pittsburgh to Chicago. Was getting on my connector flight. Found out it was canceled. I'm looking outside thinking the weather's not that bad for it to be canceled, but I got on the standby for the next two flights, and I'm looking at the standby list. I'm like 50, and I'm like, there's no point in me even waiting. So I called Trent and told him to turn me around, and I flew. Actually, I took an Uber from O'Hare to Chicago Midway. Supposed to get on a flight at Midway at like 5 o'clock. We ended up not leaving until like 10. And I got back here probably around like 1:30, 2 a.m. It was here for Christmas.
Bad. I mean, is bad a travel situation you've been through?
I was irritated, man. Yeah, I wasn't happy.
You got to see more of Chicago than you wanted.
Yeah, yeah. It was not an ideal Christmas.
Back to the mojo thing, back to the Kansas thing about winning close games. You almost feel like you have to thoroughly beat them to beat them, because they're either not going to beat themselves, or things are going to happen where they seem to get breaks that other teams don't. You have to go out there and leave no doubt when you play these guys.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like when you're playing any top team in the country, you got to beat them. Those teams are that good for a reason, and they're playing that good for a reason. So, if you're going to beat them, you're not going to beat them off their mistakes. You're not going to beat them off luck. You're going to have to go out there and get stops, make shots. You might get a couple breaks here and there being at home. But we have a hell of a fan base. It's going to be a hell of an environment in there. I think that'll play a major factor, and I think we're going to get back on track.
Erik, what do you guys see when you guys scout Wilson? I mean, obviously he's scoring a lot more than he has in the past, but that might be a product of him just shooting a lot more than he has in the past, which he's kind of waited his turn. What are you seeing? Is he a better basketball player? What do you see?
He's a good player, man. He's 6'7", 6'8". He can shoot the ball. He can shoot the three. But he loves to, they love to get him on that left wing, and he starts in the left corner, and they love to get him off a flip. The guy on the wing will come down and flip it to him in the corner, and then he'll kind of brush his man into Jalen Wilson's man, and then the 5-man on the top of the key will come down and set a ball screen at the same time. So it's kind of like a double screen to get him hard downhill to his right hand. If you give me hard downhill to my right hand, I'm gonna finish it, and he's gonna finish it. If you give Emmett hard downhill to his left hand, he's gonna finish it. You know what I mean? So take away that right hand and take away the middle, and we'll do our best to contain him. He's a streaky shooter at best. Don't let him see one go in, and try and take his confidence away from him early. And for all those guys, man, to be honest, they're besides Grady Dick, they're all pretty streaky shooters. They're just so unselfish. And the ball is always in constant movement that they get so many open looks, and they get easy baskets out of that, from layups or transition. They do a great job of coming downhill hard off those ball screens and just flipping it up to the rim for KJ. And he's a freak athlete, he'll just put his chin on the rim. So we got to take the confidence away from them early. That's the key in any game, in my opinion. Take away the confidence from the opponent. Kind of like how we did Kansas State. We were up 13-1, and we just couldn't step on the throat. And we got to develop that trait as a team. So, yeah, man, back to Jalen Wilson. He's obviously the leading scorer. We got to hope to contain him. We got to cut his numbers in half. All of their numbers, to be honest.
Go ahead.
With all that's involved, 0-2, facing Kansas, you're back at Wichita and they wouldn't play you. Your situation personally, have you ever played a game like this that probably has more attached to it?
I feel like I've played in a lot of games where there's been some extra attachments, if you will, to it. I don't have any personal hate towards Kansas. Everybody hates Kansas a little bit, because they're always that good. But no, I don't have any extra, personal motivations to them. My motivation is just to go out there and win the game. Go win the game, go play well, get our first league win, and then we obviously got Baylor coming to town, which is a whole nother story. But both of these teams are beatable. Every team in our league is beatable. Every team in our league is good, but every team in our league is beatable, if that makes sense. It's a heck of opportunity as well. We started out 0-2, and people seem to be thinking that we're falling apart when really we're not. We just had some tough breaks. We're confident as well. We've had a good week of practice. We're gonna have a good practice today. We're gonna take care of business tomorrow, hopefully.
Eric, in terms of moving ahead, will there be a battle for you emotionally?
No.
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 You have to say, hey, I gotta.
No.
Okay.
No, I don't. Yeah, no. The answer is no. I don't have any issues at all.
You have a cold?
I do got a little bit of a sore throat. I will say that.
You sound different than.
Yeah, I got a little bit of a sore throat, but other than that, that's it.
Hey, Eric, all these references to the Big 12, and Kansas could be 0-2, Baylor could be 0-3 in a couple of days. Does it help at all to look around and say, man, this is completely chaotic, or do you just have to worry about what you guys have?
Yeah, it gives us a little, maybe a little half a breath, sigh of relief type deal. You're looking around, you're like, oh, Kansas State just put it on Texas, at Texas. So it's like, we felt like we should have beat Kansas State. I'm not a believer in a good loss or like a, whatever they call it, looking for positives out of a loss. I don't really like doing that. But if you will, it's not a terrible loss. They just beat the number 6 team on the road. So, and they put up over 100 points on them. So, shows that they can play. It just shows how deep the league is. We're going to figure it out, and we're going to right the ship, and we're going to start beating these teams.
How do you redefine your identity within that chaotic conference structure?
Just get back to what we were doing. Sharing the ball, taking open shots, making open shots. And, I think keep building on what we do defensively. I thought we played pretty well defensively the first 2 games. Excuse me. We had a couple of breakdowns in each game, which is, normal. You're going to have a couple of those a game. But definitely I feel like our defense has been better than it was in the preseason. I feel like we're more physical on the defensive end. I feel like we are taking away things more than we were in the preseason. As much as Hugs might say we're not. I feel like we're getting better on the glass as well. I don't know the numbers, but I think we won both rebounding battles against K-State and Oak State, which was a major area of concern for Coach Hugs, probably 2-3 weeks ago. So, there's steady improvements. We just got to play consistent for 40 minutes. The Kansas State, we played good for 20 and then played terrible for 20. Oklahoma State, we played terrible for the first 20 and played better for the second 20. So we just got to be more consistent. And, that's the difference between us being, 12-2 and 2-0 in league and top 15 in the country and 10-4 and 0-2 and out the top 25 is just being consistent.
Obviously, Joe Tuason, he's been around the block. He's not a freshman out there. Played in a good league. And so when you kind of throw him in this situation now, he's probably going to play more now so what are we looking at with him? I'm sure there's probably no concerns, but there's going to be some added responsibilities there for him.
Yeah, I mean, I'm not too concerned about it. The team's not too concerned about it. He's a veteran point guard. He's played in the Big Ten. He's played on some really good Iowa teams. He's beat some really good Big Ten teams that seem almost unbeatable. So he knows how to win. Obviously he hasn't been playing the way he's been wanting to play. We're just trying to keep him as confident as he can be in himself. Because that's what this game is all about, and just being confident. Being confident that you're going to step up to the free throw line, make the free throw or make the shot, or be confident that you have you can rotate on defense and that your teammates can be have your back. So just trying to instill confidence in everybody. And there's going to be somebody, I don't know, who just is going to play out however the game is. There's going to be somebody who plays a lot more minutes than they typically do, come tomorrow. So I hope that, our starting five and, Mo can not get in any foul trouble and we play the whole game, but that's probably not going to work just because how fast the game is. Somebody's going to need a break. So, Kobe and Seth and those guys we're going to need them to step up.